So moving on, ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to invite Ms. Carla Astafan, Chair of the National Reparations Commission, to introduce our distinguished speaker this morning.
Your Excellency, Dame Marcella Liburd, Prime Minister, Dr. Terence Drew, Your Excellency, Dr. Julius Garvey, and Honorable Marcia Henderson. Welcome, everyone. My duty is brief, so to everyone, thank you. The professional bio of Dr. Julius Garvey. Dr. Julius Garvey was born on September 17, 1933, in Kingston, Jamaica. He is the son of the Honorable Marcus MOSIAH Garvey and Amy Jacques Garvey. Dr. Garvey is a recently retired board-certified cardiothoracic and vascular surgeon who last practiced in the state of New York. Dr. Garvey is affiliated with the Northwell Health System, which is New York's largest healthcare provider, and was a clinical associate professor of surgery at the Albert Einstein College of Medicine. He has been internationally schooled in England, Jamaica, the United States, and of note, he's a graduate of McGill University in Canada. Dr. Garvey has been on several educational and medical missions around the globe, where he lectured in such places as Ghana, Senegal, Mali, Sierra Leone, South Africa, Jamaica, Belize, Haiti, South Sudan, and Ethiopia. He is currently the CEO of the Marcus Garvey Institute of Human Development and is proud to lecture on the achievements, life, and legacy of his father. Welcome, Dr. Garvey.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Ladies and gentlemen, the hour has come when we will all hear from Dr. Julius Garvey, heir and son of the Right Excellent Marcus MOSIAH Garvey. My distinguished honor.
Thank you so much for that introduction. It's good to be here, ladies and gentlemen. Your Excellency, thank you for making this possible, Governor General, as well as Mr. Prime Minister. And this is a very special occasion. I think for some of you it's historic. For me, it's more than historic. It's very emotional. Seeing where my father came back in 1937 and where he spoke to the people of St. Kitts. And generally speaking, the message of my father at that time was, of course, to liberate our minds from mental slavery, because we'd just been through slavery and we were in the throes of colonialism. Fortunately, he himself had been able to, shall we say, break out of that embryo of mental enslavement and understood himself as a human being and a proud person of African ancestry. And he knew that the black skin was not a badge of shame, but really a symbol of greatness. He was particularly understanding of African history and African cosmology, its traditions. And he spent some time in England. And he worked for a magazine called the African Times and Orient Review, which was edited and owned by an Egyptian of basically Nubian origin, if you will, if you know the connection between Kemet and Nubia. And there was an extensive library there relative to Kemet itself. And so he absorbed all of that knowledge relative to Africa, so that his education per se was quite widespread, having traveled throughout the Caribbean before going to England and then traveling on the continent. So he was very much self-educated. And this is one of the things that he felt, that education was something that you really do for yourself, because none but yourself can liberate your mind, as we've heard the quotation several times, so to speak, today. And as he said, there's all the knowledge is in the world, and all you have to do is pursue that knowledge. And whatever knowledge you want, you can accomplish that knowledge, you can gain that knowledge, because it's there already in the world. And the way to access that knowledge, of course, is to read, and read. And he exemplified that himself. He had a great library, and he read, 2 or 3 hours a day or more when he had the time. And as he said, knowledge is power. He said, intelligence rules the world, and ignorance carries the burden. And in the pursuit of knowledge, he felt that the most important knowledge, really, ultimately, was self-knowledge. Because if you know yourself, that gives you, such a feeling that nobody can be your master. You have no earthly master. Your only master then is God. And it gives you the courage that you are your own Lord and Master, and nobody can intrude on your rights or prevent you from manifesting what is best in you. And so that was his watchword, was education. His watchword was knowledge. And one of my favorite quotations from him is that, God and nature made us what we are. And then out of our own creative genius, we make ourselves what we want to be. And I think that embraces a whole cosmology. We heard about Ubuntu a little bit earlier on. But this is the essence, shall we say, of Ubuntu in that sense, because what it's really saying is that we are one with God and nature. And obviously, therefore, God is nature, because God created nature and God created us. And we're all in God, and God is in us, and God is in everything in nature. So there's a unity in terms of that creative expression of God. And if we gain that self-knowledge, then we gain also that creative intelligence that created the universe. So if we access our spiritual essence, then we can access the potential intelligence of God, and use that then, shall we say, to break any obstacles that would prevent us from being totally free and totally who we are as human beings. And that was his watchword, throughout his whole life. And it doesn't mean that you won't have obstacles, but it means that whatever the obstacles are, you can surmount those obstacles, because you have the whole potential of the universe behind you. And if you look at the history of man, nothing has really obstructed man, all the way from man being born in Africa, and of course we conquered everything that was in Africa, and then we went around the world in terms of Homo sapiens, migrating through the different continents, Europe and Asia, and then into the Americas, Australia, etc. And being able to live in all those different environments. That is because, shall we say, our minds, and Marcus Garvey said, man is the individual that can shape his character, master his will, create his own destiny. So again, there's no obstacle that can prevent us from creating our own destiny. And, many people depend on God in a sense and pray to God in a sense. But, God created the land, but man built the city. And my dad used to talk about, Edison and Marconi. Of course, they gave us the wireless and the light bulb and that sort of stuff. And many geniuses that gave us different things. But it was out of the creativity of their own minds. And he said, mind creates, and anything that you want in nature, you can achieve through using the creative intelligence of your mind. And you can achieve that then if you liberate your minds from mental slavery. Because when you've liberated your mind, you've achieved your spiritual essence and you become one. You're now reconnected with your spiritual essence, which then makes you the total human being, not just the material, physical human being, but the balanced human being of both spirit and matter. So it's important. So it's important for us to understand that. And to understand also that God, gave us the full capacity to be co-creators in the universe. So he's not going to come and help us anymore. He gave us that to begin with. That was his gift to us. As I said, he gave us the land, and we have to build the city. So, he has given you St. Kitts and Nevis. So you have to build St. Kitts and Nevis in the direction that you want to see St. Kitts and Nevis go. Don't expect God to come down and build a city. God is not bound to build a city. He has given you the land. So it's your responsibility then to make St. Kitts this beautiful land that God has given you, to really make it beautiful, more beautiful, if you will, and create a sustainable development, for all of your people, so that everybody can have, prosperity and equity within the society. So, I'm pleased to be here and to share these few words with you. And, I leave you with my father's motto, which is one God. So we really have one God. We have many different religions, but there's only one God. And we have to unite with that one God. And that is our aim in life, to manifest that God that is in us, so that we manifest our best selves, within our society to help not only ourselves, but our society. And then, of course, our own destiny is perfection of ourselves as human beings. So one God, one aim, one destiny, one love. Thank you very much.
Let us have it again for Dr. Garvey. That was more than a mouthful. And as it is repeated on the media, I'm sure it will resonate in the minds of our people.